Hello and welcome to Cinemondo with Kathy and Arun. I'm so
Hi.
excited Arun is here. As most of you know, I design movie posters and do entertainment marketing. And I discovered Arun, who also does movie posters and entertainment marketing in India, which I was so excited to talk to you about how it works over there and some of your posters and experiences. So let's get to it. What inspired you to do this for a living?
I suppose we started off while I was 20 years old. We started off at a lockdown time. So we had this whole COVID pandemic happening. And I suppose I was also doing my BCom, my degree in BCom. And I was not pretty much into BCom though. I was having my roots in theater acting and all. But
Okay.
so basically, I wanted to somehow end up in cinema, the business of cinema. I've always loved it. I've always loved watching cinema.
Yeah.
So during lockdown, there was a bunch of frustrated artists that came along to start off an Instagram page. That was generally the one-liner of how our page Aesthetic Kunjamma started. And on the course of lockdown, we tried out a lot of styles. Styles as in we made vintage posters, we made fan-made posters of existing films. And it was a very fun ride because we could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
We could make it quirky. We were very much focusing into the vintage style. And after a while, I think it started clicking. People loved it. People were asking for more. And we were very happy to make some more. We collaborated with a lot of artists across India. We were in that zone of like trying out new stuff, and people were very much open to getting content from us. So we were a regular content creator kind of vibes. And yeah, that is how we started. It was a lockdown project, and now we're doing films. We're doing like actual film posters, key art for
Loved it.
films. That is, yes,
That is the dream. That is amazing. So
yes.
you were actually discovered by like a movie studio or a producer. Like, how did they find you to get you into doing the actual
Um,
posters?
so basically, while we were doing fan made posters for existing films, I
Mhm.
remember those makers, those producers would react to those posts. So they would say, okay, this is good, this is not good enough, and all. So we were very much more encouraged in making more stuff for their films too. Then I suppose the first ever film that approached us was called Whale, and that was a Malayalam film.
Mhm.
We started off with that. Also, there was a production house called Madras Talkies. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Okay.
Madras Talkies is a big production house. They just made a film called Ponniyin Selvan, which is a huge
Yes.
film.
Yes.
So Madras Talkies had approached us for a title design for a upcoming web series. So that was one huge production that came to us. So I think they got our number from Instagram. They gave us a call. So we had to do a very tricky project with them, and it was fun. We came into the
Wow.
industry. Yes.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that
Yes.
so much. So, how did you get your start? Did you go to art school? You said you were into acting. Did you
Yeah.
approach? How do you, approach the design for a movie poster? Like, do you read the script?
Okay,
You see
so
a screener?
yeah. So as I was saying, none of us have a design background. As
Right.
in,
Okay.
we have never gone to a design school.
Okay.
My personal thing was I was doing BCom. I was into
Right.
theater acting. I've always dreamt of acting, basically. But I was having this sense of like art and design and
Yeah.
whatever. I wanted to do creative direction also. So at this COVID time, we were like trying out a lot of stuff as all the artists were. And I got a like a bunch of very cool creative artists. One of my main co-founders of this company called Deepak, he was also self-learned. Like as in,
Mm.
I suppose he's never gone to college after school. He just saw YouTube. He saw all these tutorials to learn how to design, how to do VFX.
Right.
I suppose he can even do a VFX for a film. So all of our teammates, none of them has gone to a professional so-called design school. They've not done a course for design. They just learned it on the
I love
process.
that.
They just learned it through YouTube. Yeah.
You got to have the raw skill, or it's just not going to work. And you found the people who have that. So, how many people are
Yes.
part of this movie poster collective that you have?
So currently we are like a 6-member team. We
Okay.
have one person for the management stuff, and the others are for the creative direction and design.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let's talk about this latest Mammootty movie poster that I
Yeah.
think is stunning. I mean, I saw that poster and was like, I mean, it's amazing. And sometimes it's the most simple design,
Yes.
and it
Yeah.
stands out because it's not crazy colors. Tell me about how that happened.
So we have Mammootty, as you know, he's a very legendary actor in India.
Yeah.
So we have collaborated with him for a project called Kanu Squad. I think I've seen one of your videos that you've reacted on your page.
Yeah.
And while doing that, I was having a huge fanboy moment as I was able to work with him. I was able to meet him. I was able to shoot with him.
Oh, you got to
And
meet him? Oh, wow.
yeah, that was
Okay.
the first time we were
Woo.
meeting him. So after that film, we came across a film called Bramayugam, which was a huge, ambitious project from Malayalam,
Right.
and the director who had worked with us on the previous film of his. So he had told us about the premise. He had told us about the scale and whatever the film demanded. Yeah. So
Love it.
while we were exploring many zones, we came up with a title poster design idea, which was the
Mhm.
other one, the artwork one. So that pretty much took around like 1.5 months for us to make.
Okay.
We were drawing, we were trying out different styles, we were trying to inculcate maybe a visual illusion style into it. So it
Mhm.
was properly a trial and error method. And I suppose it worked out. To an extent, it worked out. There were a lot of people trying out different stuffs out there. So we wanted to
Yeah.
do something new. So even Deepak was also very much into artworks too. So we took around like 1.5, 2 months to create that poster. That was a good hit, as in people loved it. People
Yeah.
were sharing it too much. And after that, we went to the set. We were pitching for an idea. We wanted to reveal the character of Mammootty sir, and he had a very different, very cool
Yeah.
character in the film. So that character demanded a certain way to be delivered into the audience, and we were trying out different ideas. We were trying. The only basic idea we had was to give it a very minimal feel. At the same time, it has to look strong. So to be minimally strong is something very contrasting, as you can
Yeah.
hear. And we were trying out different sketches. We were trying out different, like we even tried out an AI, like on how we can visualize this stuff. And
Mm.
suddenly we came into an idea of this can be the campaign. This can be the route that we have to select. This has to be the zone, the colors, and everything. So we went to the set. We pitched it to the producer, director, and Mamuka sir, and he was like, "Yeah, cool. Let's shoot." And my idea was something different, as in terms of the pose, in terms of the sitting style and all. I had a different idea.
Okay.
Even my team had a different idea. So we went there. We started shooting. We were shooting on a medium format camera, and suddenly Mammootty sir started improvising. He started like giving us more better poses.
Nice.
While doing the shoot, he was suggesting, okay, let's go like this.
I
So
love
he
it.
was trying to bring in whatever characteristics he had from himself.
Right.
And that is what gave life to the poster, is what I believe. Like
Yeah.
the emotion of the actor, the emotion of the character has to somehow reflect. So we can't make a poster very cool with a lot
Yeah.
of work on it. We can't like draw a lot of stuff and make it cooler.
Mm-hmm.
But if the actor gives us something, if the actor gives us emotion, all the legendary posters I've noted had some amount of emotions in it. So I suppose Mammootty sir gave me a certain emotion that reflected his character from the film, and we were able to capture it really well. We were trying to bring it on our zone very minimally, and I suppose it worked out. That's what you guys are seeing
It
at
definitely worked.
Bramayugam poster. Yes.
I love that you work directly with the filmmakers. I think that's
Yes.
really
Yes.
that's very unusual because in Los Angeles we talk to the studios and then they have a
Yeah.
marketing department inside the studios. There were still
Mm.
steps and steps away from the filmmakers. And so we're doing
Okay.
thousands of ideas. And then the people in
Yeah.
the studios decide, let's show it to our boss, and then their boss likes it. And then that very last step is to show it to the filmmakers. And if they don't
Oh,
like
so
it,
you can't like talk to the
nope,
director.
very
No. Yeah.
rarely. There's some that do, somebody like Chris Nolan or
Ah,
JJ Abrams, they are directly involved.
super.
They get to
Yeah.
see the stuff first, but mostly they don't see it till the last minute. And then if they don't like it, it all starts over again. We go back to the marketing department, who then goes back to. So there's layers and layers. I love that you get to work directly with them, and I think that
Yes.
makes them more invested too. Because then, like Mammootty's there, And he's like, oh, they want this poster. They're pitching me their idea. I have this idea. And the actor performance comes through. And that's like so important. And getting an actor performance this shoot sometimes is so difficult because a lot of them do not like it. And they feel awkward. And but that I think that really is. Let's take another quick look at it. Just took it off your side. I think that's another reason this really works is that you are just relying directly on him, not even color, not even background. Like, I just think this is just beautiful, beautiful idea. So I just really wanted to talk to you about that. So, and even just getting black and white through is so hard here. It is very rarely do you get to do that. So I was impressed on so many levels.
Thank you. I think we're going to consistently keep on doing posters on black and white for this film. So
yeah, I saw there was 3 on your site. Are those all the official teasers and you're rolling them out, right? Yeah, that's amazing. The only thing closest I can think of is probably The Witch, which it was like came out a while ago, very similar, but it was kind of, it was a goat and different weird things. But that was a while ago, and it's been a while. But yeah, this was stunning. So when you guys work on a poster, do you read a script? I know you talk to the filmmakers. Do you read a script first, and then you do sketches and your design? How do you go about your initial steps?
Okay, so it basically depends on what part of the film we get in on the project. As in, there are several. I suppose it works very differently outside India. Not even outside India, even outside the south of India. I suppose it works very differently. As you were saying, the production, I mean, the studio owns the film. The studio decides, the marketing decides on how to take it forward, or maybe how to get pitches from the design agency. But here, it's like a direct call. It happens more organically.
Love that.
So we can get into a project even midway. We can get into the project while the film is finished. So we can go watch the film and pitch it, or we can get the whole script and pitch it. So it depends on when and what time you get into a project. So in taking Bramayugam, we were in the project for before 1.5 years of the switch on. And he had discussed the initial ideas of how this is, and he didn't share the whole script, but he was discussing how the premise is, how the scale of the film is, and all. So that gave us a lot of time to prepare, collect resources, research for the project. And there were instances we have done Bollywood films. There were spaces where they gave us the whole script to read. We can go through it, give them a lot of ideas. We can bounce back with a lot of sketches. So that is one approach. And we've even seen the whole film and then made pitches for that. So it depends on what part of the film you get in, and that is how the Indian industry works. I suppose that is cool because I don't know, even if you read the script, I don't think you can get a lot of visual idea of how the film would come out. While seeing the film, you can get how the setting looks like. You can see how the colors are working. You can see the actors on their setting. And which is a lot of more ideas rather than just reading a lot of text. But I suppose it's two ways we can pick. That is how we work.
It's always, and I think people are sometimes surprised how far in advance we're working on this stuff. Like you said, 1.5 years. It's so a lot of times, while the film is going on, I mean, this takes it's amazing how long films take to make, I worked on the first Star Trek movie, J.J. Abrams, and that was I think 2 years ahead of time. We were starting with logos, and then we went to, because it was already a known brand, we were able to kind of, what does Star Trek look like? We know what it looks like. But then when you're gearing up and you're doing your sketches and you're using the Enterprise and you're doing your logos, then the movie comes in, and like you said, it changes everything because you have a cast, you have a look, you have different backgrounds now. So it starts so small and it becomes so big. But that was 2 years in working on it, and it just seems thousands of comps. So the approval. The approval process is brutal, but we love it. So it's very interesting hearing if it was that long, but it sounds like it is that long because people want to get the ball rolling, and then it's amazing how fast it goes. It's like you're like, oh, we're a year out. Next thing you know, it's like, oh my God, we got this thing printed and out in 6 months. So I'm sure there's been many a late night. So when you get when you're I know I'm getting probably so inside that people are like, what is this? When you're taking your ideas to the filmmakers for approvals, How did the notes come in? Are they usually like constructive or like we don't like it, try again? Like what do you usually get when you're giving posters to people, and how many do you usually present?
I suppose it depends on the film. It depends on the production. Like there are people who are ready to take anything that we give them. There are people.
We love them.
Yeah, we love them. So there are people who would like ideally give us a clarity on what they want, and we can just stick to that path. And if it's like a pitching thing, if it's like an open-ended stuff, we can. I don't think I've done a lot of bounce backs. I've just given them a set of ideas. They would slightly tweak it. Oh no, this is not the zone we want. We can explore more on this zone. And ideally, we have to stick on to that zone and give them more, no matter how boring it you might feel about it, and no matter how cool it is. We'll have to stick on to what they want, because at the end, it's like a two-way collaboration. We have to do work for them also. You can't be like creatively forcing them to stick on to a single path. So I suppose it depends from production to production, filmmaker to filmmaker. I have worked with people who like would literally take anything. If we have the understanding of the film, we can't just make a lot of posters for that film. If it is not useful, then that is gone. So we have to ideally understand what the project is, and if we are giving them something sensible, they would definitely take it. Or else we're gonna do that again.
There are there are a lot of creatives who are good at marketing, and some that aren't. So as you know, some people like they take it and they go amazing, I love it, and then some others have more specific notes because they want to be involved. And I like that you're going, like, since you haven't had official school, which I don't think artists necessarily have to have. If you're in this business, you have a passion, you have a sensibility and a raw talent. And that plays into how much you love the industry and like how much I love the industry. I mean, I went to art school, but it didn't teach me how to do movie posters. I did that, like I didn't even know it was a job. Like, I went to art school and I'm like, and then I read an article in Premiere magazine, which was way back in the day, and they had an article about an agency in Los Angeles who did movie posters. I was like, that sounds like a fun job. So I moved here and I said, I don't want to do movie posters. So then I did. And it was like, but it's mostly, I think what's missing, which is what I like about your approach, is that you're a fan and you do it because you love it. And you'd be amazed how many people in business that don't necessarily love movies. Like they like marketing and they're in but like, the enthusiasm that I like to bring to it is because I'm a huge movie fanatic and I love talking to people about movies and like people like you about movies. So I think that shows because the breadth of your work on your Instagram, I don't know how many of them, I mean, they're very professional and they look very polished. So it's, you can't even tell a fan poster from a non-fan poster. I've been fooled many times because fan posters are really good, but you guys do a lot of really great work. So what is your favorite genre to work on when it comes to movie posters?
I don't know if a movie poster designer should love a certain genre, because we would like certainly stick on to that forever. I would say I love everything. I personally love watching films that are on a zone of like psychological horror and thriller and stuff. So I suppose, I love experimenting stuff on that. We have a lot of opportunities for that. And apart from that, like maybe taking romance or taking comedy, there is a certain limit, I feel. But in thriller, psychological horror, and period films and all, we can play around with a lot of stuff. We have the setting, we have the actors, we have a lot of things. So I suppose, period is something I like. Maybe,
yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think I lean toward that too, and a lot of people do. I think because you can make something really beautiful and mysterious and elegant. And I think when you come to having to do comedy, it's really hard to be funny in like a two-dimensional image. So you end up, you feel like falling back on light colors and goofy faces, and so it's like that kind of like you feel like I want to do something cool. There was a poster. I'm looking at your Instagram right now. There's another poster that a while back I saw it and I went, "Wow, great poster." This is before I even knew you existed. It was a psychological thriller about a guy and his mom. It's Bhutakalam is how you say it.
So basically, Bhutakalam was the film of the director who just made Bramayugam.
Oh, okay.
That's the same director's film. Yeah.
That's so fun.
So
Yeah,
you
I'm
can
learning
see
so
where
much.
it is coming from. Yeah.
I know that was some beautiful stuff. I love the conceptual work that you did for it
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't realize that it isn't just about an actor's portrait. It's also about
Mm.
conceptual, how do
Definitely.
you design it, So
Yeah. Yeah.
when you did that, it was a psychological drama, a thriller. And so I like that
Yeah.
you brought in a lot of that, like the family idea and kind of merging, with the head and everything. So
Yeah.
what's your approach to in general, like working with your team? Do you assign a poster per person or do you all just kind of pitch in and just go for it?
Mm, I suppose that too totally depends on what kind of a project we are dealing with.
Right.
We have had like last minute mess ups. We all like run around here and there, work on different posters. We even simultaneously work on a single poster. We can like divide our work. Like one person would do the retouch, the other
Right.
person would do all the like the other composition stuff, and maybe the artwork positioning and all.
Right.
So ultimately, the goal is to finish whatever we have in
Right.
the day. So mostly we do have a schedule of work. Like we do not have like a lot of urgent works that comes up. We do at some points, but we do a pre-planning. We'll do the discussions
Mm-hmm.
after hearing a script or after watching the movie. We'll do a discussion. We'll let everybody know that this is what we're dealing with. This is the
Mm-hmm.
premise of the film, and what all could you bring into this. So
Yeah.
we'll have an open discussion. They'll all give us like random ideas, maybe
Yeah.
sketches and stuff like that. There's another person for the logo. There's another person for the artwork.
Right.
So it totally depends on like pure teamwork. And at the end, once it is sorted, once we have clarity, okay, this is the campaign, this is the route that we want to pick, then
Mhm.
we'll ideally split into teams, maybe
Okay.
like two or three, or maybe like we'll split into each other and we can like give them
Right.
proper work. So you can do this poster, you can do the other poster, and we can simultaneously work on a single project, or maybe we can shuffle between one or two projects. So it depends. It depends on the
Yeah.
time.
It sounds very similar to how we do it. Like we'll
Yes.
get a job in, you get a basic
Hmm.
outline of what it is, and then you all get together, have a big meeting, and you talk about what can we do, what are the approaches, and you pull scrap.
I would all sorry to cut you off.
No,
I would
no,
also
yeah.
love to yeah, I would also love to know like how do you guys get the briefing? What is your source of the idea?
So usually what we do is we have a studio will approach us. I work in an
Hmm.
agency, so there's
Yeah.
50 people,
Hmm.
designers, and then some support staff. So it's decent size. It's a very
Yeah.
boutique. Even in Los Angeles, there's only so many. I mean, it's a pretty small industry. It's a very very
Hmm.
specific. So, and a lot of the studios have in-house. But what happens is
Hmm.
there are relationships between account executives and studios, and the studios will have a project and they'll go, I'm going to take this to this agency, and
Hmm.
their marketing department heads call us,
Hmm.
and we have a big Zoom meeting, and we all talk
Okay.
about, here's our job, this is what we're looking at. And at this point they've done strategy briefings. They have like,
Hmm.
sometimes they'll have a deck with like, the feedback from like what audience wants, what audience like,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
kind of movies. They'll even have like a list of the actors if they have cast it yet. Sometimes we get them before they're even
Hmm.
cast. We don't even know yet. We're doing logos.
Got it. Yeah.
I know, it's kind of like,
Hmm.
I don't know. So yeah, so then
That sounds
we'll
fun.
have,
Yeah.
I know exactly. So we have a big meeting with them, and they
Hmm.
usually they'll say, we want to do, it depends on the stage we're at. They'll say, we want to do a
Hmm.
shoot. So come
Hmm.
up with some concepts. So then we all
Hmm.
have another meeting internally and talk about, here's the movie or show. Let's all
Hmm.
come up with ideas, and we'll do sketches and what you're talking, sketches and scrap, and we'll have ideas
Hmm.
for a photo shoot. And then
Okay.
ideally, then there's back and forth between the photo shoot, and then we come back with the concepts that are going to print, and then with something, then we'll have the photo shoot. And so we do the photo shoot, and we'll come back,
Hmm.
and it starts all over again. Here's the shoot.
Hmm.
What are we going to do? We have these ideas, but let's do new ideas. So it becomes a lot of that. So it's a lot of back and forth with the internal marketing team
Hmm.
and our
Hmm.
agency. Sometimes they'll go out to multiple agencies, so we're like competing against
Hmm.
each other, and we all know each other. So it's like we're like friends, going, you're working on that. I'm gonna beat you. So it's a very competitive
How are the
business.
actors to work with? Like, how are the actors to shoot with? To be specific.
It depends on the actor. Most actors are very cool. It's very businesslike. I mean, they're professionals. They come to the shoot. They're not in character. Very rarely do we go to a shoot when they're shooting. Sometimes we do. We call it the drive-by shoot. We have to go and you're on set and you just sit there and wait with your seamless and your lights, and you wait for time. When they're on break and an actor can come and do a shoot. Very rush. We'll get like 5 minutes. It's so fast. So you have to be very. And most actors are very cool. They're all very professional. Some people are more friendly than others. Some are not friendly at all. Some are not nice. But there's been, I have to say James Spader was probably my worst experience at a shoot. Other than James Spader, he was not cool. I mean, kind of what you would expect him to be, but he was not a nice person, and he was very belligerent and wouldn't do what we wanted to. Like, even if had to, because when we do the shoot, we like to talk about the full rotations. Okay, we want just a good basic gallery. You guys probably do this. We just want to get them portraits straight at camera, looking off camera, left and right, turn, looking left and right. And they're performing as they turn around. And you do that a few times and you'll change the lighting. He did not want to look off camera. He goes, I don't do that. I'm saying, well, I don't know why you won't do that. You do it when you're shooting, but okay. So he was not very nice, but most people are very, very cool. One of the people, I get intimidated by someone if I'm a fan. Like I get all, like you said, I get all fanny about William Shatner. I was like, kind of like, I was doing a William Shatner suit. I thought for sure he would be the hard one because you hear stories about him. He was so nice, total pro, total pro. He got up there and he did sing and he was good attitude, But mostly everybody's pretty great. I mean, they get up there and do their jobs, but they're there to work and they're not there. They're not their character and they're not your friend. They're not, so they get up there and they do their jobs, but it's a really fun thing, but it's pretty grueling because a lot of times there's a lot of waiting and a lot of downtime. You probably run into some of that, I assume. I mean, you have good and bad. How are your actors and you work with them?
No, I suppose we've even shot photo shoots while the shoot was happening simultaneously. As in the actual movie shoot would happen on the set, on the side. We'll go on the set from morning, we'll wait, we'll do whole light setup, we'll do the test shot, we'll wait from day to night, and sometimes the shoot doesn't even happen. Like that day the actors wouldn't be free. They would continuously shoot and they would say, no, I'm tired, let's go for shoot tomorrow, and we'll have to break this down and go back tomorrow again. So that has happened. I suppose mostly all the actors are very collaborative here. I have very rare problematic experiences. Even Mamuka was a sweetheart to be working with. Everybody is very collaborative. I love the way that actors get involved to an extent, as in they would also suggest what they can do, what they can maybe try out. They wouldn't like to alter whatever we are aiming for, but they would add on to the creative process, and which is very lovely to do so. So I would say it is very cool here. I don't think I barely have any such experience. I wish I do not go through something like that. I might be traumatized for life. So I am very young for that. So
you have time.
All cool so far. Yes.
Well, it's funny that a lot of actors don't want to do shoots because a lot of times it's on the day off. They're all working really hard. They're working long hours. Like you said, they're tired. They don't want to work. And they're there on the weekend and they're kind of cranky sometimes. None of us want to work on the weekend. So we all want days off. Get a job where there was no shoot and there will not be a shoot. And they're like, why don't they plan? Like, I don't understand why there just wouldn't be a day where they know they're going to need a poster. They know it's coming. Yeah. Why wouldn't you just shoot your actors? Like, just do a day of a quick shoot. So I'm always amazed when they don't think ahead.
So I would like to know, have you guys ever tried out posters with screen grabs or maybe just without the photo shoots? Have you guys done that?
Many times. Because a lot of times the shoot doesn't get the emotion. A lot of them, just having them in camera, like when they're being shot on the set with unit, they are in character and they're doing it. So a lot of times you get a little bit more of the emotion and intensity that you don't get at a shoot. So sometimes you'll want to do that. It used to be a lot harder because now we have all this AI software that will improve bad photography, which is what we get a lot of times. It's like, oh my God. So many times we have to we're starting more and more to work with screen grabs because, again, it's in movie and it looks good and, you want to, but I love it when a photographer is on set that's really good. There's a new Scorsese film coming out. The student photographer, art. I mean,
Oh.
they shot on set. They did beautiful portraiture. Like it looked like an actual, and it was just a unit, like beautiful. So but they're expensive. So a lot of times they're just
Yeah.
getting a guy like a union guy who's a unit photographer who's good, but not the artist. So Scorsese
Got it.
gets what he wants. So he gets the artist.
I suppose here this is the scenario in south of India. Photo shoots very rarely happen. I suppose it is happening throughout right now. Even if we are doing designs, we would pitch for photo shoots initially, but
Yeah.
that was not a very prominent trend in the last few years because photo shoots happened very rarely. We couldn't afford to like take a different
Yeah.
day for that, bring all the actors together. That was
Yeah.
very hard
Yeah.
because in India, in south of India, the actors are super busy. They like run from one set to the other. I wouldn't say that is bad. That is cool.
Yeah.
It is very hard to shuffle between films. And in specifically in Kerala, all the actors would do a film in the morning. They'll go to another set in the night. So it's super tight for them. So
Yeah.
we can't imagine them to come to a photo shoot with the same look as they had on the film. So it is very hard. So coming on to even in Hollywood posters, I would say we have a lot of time involved. There is a lot of process that goes on. So I would say photo shoot is very easy. But here photo shoot is new, very tough.
Yeah.
We are just bringing that forward. Now it's changing. It's like very photo shoot oriented here.
Yeah, now they want to look good in their posters because I mean it makes a difference.
Yes.
I mean, I can't imagine being an actor because a lot of them don't have the control, and so they see their images. They have image control, but they don't know what the poster is going to look like, and they see it and they're like, "What? What was that?"
Yeah.
Like I did a post. I did a lot of the marketing for Lost, the TV show Lost.
Oh,
And so
okay.
you always run the risk when you say you've done the poster, you talk to an actor. Like I went to the screenings and I saw the actors. I'm like, oh, hi. Saw like the actor Jorge Garcia who played Hurley. And I'm like, oh, I did your poster. And he goes, why did I have to, what were the colors? Why? I don't understand. And you're just like, oh, why? The worst one was a show for Pushing Daisies. It was a show by Brian Fuller, who's an amazing talent. He did a Hannibal series. He's very visual.
Okay.
So that was a series that I was very excited about, and I did this key art, and I was actually the body double in the poster because we didn't have any people, no shoot or anything, super low budget. So it was me and another art director. We did these down and dirty. It was just us at a shoot, and so we did this in a field of daisies, wearing a flower dress and then a blue sky and all that. So I talked I see Brian Fuller and I think it was not Richard Donner. Now I'm forgetting the producer of the series. I go up at a screening, and it was at the Hollywood Graveyard, which was hilarious. And we have these screenings at the cemetery here. It's very strange. So I saw them, and I'm like, "Oh, you guys, I did the poster. I'm so excited to meet you." And he's like, "That poster was totally the wrong color. I hated it." And I'm like, "Wow!" And I see Brian Fuller in the background, just kind of nodding, super embarrassed, like, "Oh." And I'm like, and it was crushing to not have the filmmakers like my poster. And I was like, he goes, "We told them we didn't want any blue. It was just the blue. They just hated the blue for some reason." I was like, wow. So now I'm reticent to ever tell anyone I did their posters because you never know if they liked it or not. So you're like, oh, I don't want to get off on the wrong foot. I was like, oh, so there's always that risk when you see, because you see people around all the time. And your screenings, or you worked on another project that an actor was on, and you'll say, "Oh, I worked with you before." Most of the time they're cool. Nathan Fillion, I did a shoot for a show they did called Firefly. It's an old show, kind of a sci-fi show, and he was great. I don't know if you've heard of Nathan Fillion. He's kind of a culty kind of actor here. And then I shot a show he did called Castle, and I was like, oh, I took the risk. I'm like, oh, I was the shoot for Firefly. He goes, oh my God. And he comes running over and, kisses me. And I'm just like, highlight of my life. So you never know. Sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah. It works out sometimes. Yeah.
So what kind of, you say you don't do a ton of shoots, but what was your worst experience at a shoot? Have you even had any? It sounds like the actors are pretty cool. You want to diss anyone?
I don't think I have any worst experiences so far. It was all lovely to be working with. Yeah. It was all very blissful experiences that we are having. So I can't recall. There were very funny instances that has happened. There are a lot of instances where we have gone to the photo shoot clueless of what to do and figured out the whole poses and like even the story over there. We wouldn't
Yeah.
even know the story. We'll just go to the set initially, not now. We'll go to the set. We'll just sit with the actor and realize, okay, this is the story. Okay, now we'll do it in this way. Can you suggest some ideas? So that is one
Yeah.
very organic process that we
I
have
love
approached
that.
for. And apart from that, I don't think there is a very bad experience that I
That's
can
good.
remember. Nothing. All cool. All good.
They're pretty rare. I mean, at
Yes.
actual shoots, working with people, it's pretty rare because it's the business. Everybody gets it.
Yes.
You're there for a reason. Like,
No, I
yes,
think one thing I remember,
yeah.
um, while we released, I'm not telling you the name of the film, but we released a film poster that was a highly anticipated cinema in Malayalam, and it came out and nobody liked the poster.
Oh,
But the filmmakers love it. Filmmakers wanted something like that, but the audience, the general audience, was not appreciating it at all. So
oh.
I received random phone calls saying like this is so boring. You shouldn't have done this.
Oh.
You're not helping the film. You're just destroying the film. So
Oh my
don't
god.
do it. So I was like, no, I'll try better next time. But
Oh.
that actually made me feel very bad at that time. But then I realized, no, I shouldn't. I should have just tried harder the next time. But yeah, that was one problematic
Yeah.
experience I have. That was not even related to a shoot. That was just the audience reacting to a poster. That
But
is
at
it.
the same time, you were pleasing your client, who is the
Hmm.
filmmaker and the production of the
Yeah,
movie. If they
yeah,
love it, it's like it's disappointing to everyone if somebody doesn't like your poster. But at the same time,
mm,
that wasn't your job. Your job was to do the best job you knew for them, who
yeah,
their
yeah,
movie. If and
yeah.
it sounds like they still like their poster. So
Mm,
opinions of the public, you can't take it too personally because everybody has a different opinion about what you're doing for sure.
definitely.
I just,
Yes.
there was a moment where I did talk about performances and it happening on set. I did a
Mm,
shoot. We were doing a big gallery shoot for the show Modern Family, and
okay.
there was a point where the baby was in the shoot.
Mm,
Because it was very
mm,
limited time because babies are only
mm,
allowed to be in the set like a certain number of hours or whatever. So they brought the baby
okay.
in. Everybody's posing. We did a big gallery shoot, everybody together, which is rare because usually you're shooting everybody one at a time, which we did, but we also
Mm,
did a big, huge
mm,
group shot. And
mm.
as we're sitting there, the baby starts crying. And
Oh.
so everybody goes, "Hey, everybody start crying." So all the cast pretended like they were crying in the shoot. They were crying. And we did maybe
Ah.
3 or 4 shots. And then Eric Stone Street was like, "Okay, everybody stop. This is just mean. Let's give the baby back to his mom." But that ended up being the poster, is everybody crying in the poster.
Crying with the baby. That's a nice idea. That it's always about improvising. I feel
You
like we
gotta
can
roll with it.
play around. Yeah,
You gotta roll it. So do you work
totally.
on, have you ever had to cross over into doing trailers or any kind of motion with your posters, or you
Uh,
just print?
I think we are currently also stepping into motion design. We have been trying out 3D. We
Mm.
do have like very cool 3D artists here.
Oh,
So
nice.
we have not gone full fledged. We have done like motion design for logos and things like that.
Right.
But we have not gone for like full animations or something like that. We do have the idea to try out something like that. We have done something for Hotstar here. We've done some marketing material for a show that Hotstar had in Kerala.
Nice.
And that was one prominent motion design thing that we did from our agency. So I suppose we will be doing that in the coming years. I do love that part of
Yeah.
things happening. So yes,
Yeah.
we are trying out our hands on that.
It is strange to, when you do that, to break out, because like you're used
Mm.
to, you're putting your idea into this one space. It's flat. It's
Yes.
one image, maybe a
Yeah,
couple,
yeah,
but it's
Mm.
weird to take that and think of it in motion. Like I'm still like trying to
yeah.
break through that. It's strange. I think you can, with your, say, this last poster you did what was the movie called, the one time Mammootty movie, that
Bramayugam.
Birmingham.
Bramayugam. Yeah.
You can almost see that being motion. Like it could be him
Mm.
just turning his head, just keeping it
Yeah.
super minimal again. Like, oh, what is that? So, okay.
Yes.
So it's sometimes in your head, you're like, oh, that would be cool. And then, that doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
no. Most of the time, I feel is we can give them suggestions, even to the agency that is dealing VFX, even to the agency
Okay.
that is gonna do the logo animation. We are able to give them suggestions, and I feel that is a huge plus for our agency
Yes.
because I don't think not always would a 3D agency or maybe a motion design agency would listen to a
Yeah.
poster design agency. So, but here we do have the space, we do have that communication with everybody so that we can suggest, okay, we want our logo to be doing this, so maybe it has to rotate like this and
Yeah.
all. So that can be like a very good organic process that happens here. And I suppose we are very lucky to be able to give them ideas of what we have on the side of motion design.
Oh yeah, see that it seems like a
Yes.
natural now, especially now that
Mm.
digital's happening. The industry has changed so much. Like I was doing
Yeah.
movie posters before, there was a lot of streaming stuff happening. So your poster
Mm.
was very prestigious. You do a poster, and now I feel like
Yeah.
key art speak. There's so many pieces of content. There's so many
Yes.
images. It feels like it's kind of
Mm.
it's becoming more diffused instead of this one
Mm.
image that you do. There's
Yeah.
many, and now motion. So it's in a way it's sort of gradually evolving into not just like you're having not just
Mm.
a print, but you're sort of evolving into motion, and then that maybe goes to
Mm.
trailers, and I think that's kind of fun, but it is a whole
Yes.
different mindset. No,
Yes.
no, no. So
Yeah.
you do just mainly Malayalam films?
No, we deal with every language in India. We
Oh,
do
excellent.
films all across. Yeah, we've done Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, Kannada,
Nice.
whatever.
What are some of the
Yes.
other movies that you've done? Go ahead and start calling them out.
So I would just name some of those I remember. One, the upcoming film called Kida Kola, which is a Telugu film.
Yeah.
We are also doing a film with Applause Entertainment. That's a very famous group here. That's a Bollywood Hindi film. So I don't think we can name the film
Okay.
yet because it is not yet announced.
Okay.
So that is one. Then for Kannada, we recently finished a film that was called Strawberry. And
Wow.
in Tamil, we are doing a film called Romeo. So that is
Nice.
a few names I can
That's
remember.
great. I love that you're crossing languages and everything. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So have you ever
it's
done?
very easy to do it also. Right?
That's really cool.
To be
Have you done
shuffling
a
across.
poster with Fahad Fossil? I love him.
Oh, okay. Fahad Fazil, no, unfortunately,
Oh.
nothing so far. But I suppose very soon I would get the
I
opportunity.
think pretty soon you will be.
Yeah.
Once you've got the movie
We've
in
done
your pocket.
sorry to cut you off.
No,
We
no.
have done a film which Fahad Fazil produced, which is called Tangam.
Oh.
And we've done that, but not one he has acted in. That's it.
Right. So you did Mammootty. Have you done Dulquer Salman?
Dulquer Salman, yes. The Kurup film. I suppose you've also
Karu.
put out a
Yeah.
I suppose you put out a review on the
Yeah.
page.
We just
So
did.
Kurup
That's
was
funny.
one of our projects.
That was
It was a
Oh,
very
that's great.
very huge project at that
Yeah.
time. So we were able to give them like proper, authentic vintage posters. We were also trying out different art styles for that. And I suppose that was very. I don't know if I can tell it that way. It was very iconic at that
Yeah.
time. The posters are very much celebrated. Everybody loved the posters. So still, we do get inquiries where people come to us and ask, "Can we get posters like Kurup film?" So that is like
That's
a
funny.
category now.
I
Yeah.
love seeing your own work used as scrap for a poster that they want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's really funny.
So Kurup
I
was
love
very
that.
fun to do with. Yes.
That is fantastic. I love that. So, any like posters that you find the most inspiring, or is it just, any posters that stand out to you, some of your favorite kind of iconic movie posters in general?
I suppose in generally, I love all the posters that come out from Disney.
Yeah.
Disney posters are lovely. And recently, the Dune campaign was very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Dune was lovely. Then I loved. I have a lot of saved in my phone. I don't remember. The Lamb.
I'm putting you on the
poster was
spot.
nice.
Oh, and Lamb's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
All the 824 films, I really love
Yes.
the posters. I suppose it has a touch of. There is a touch of stuff over there. So I
Yeah.
love 824 films. Yeah, that is something I enjoy.
Yeah, the
seeing.
art house films, I feel like
Yes.
you're able to have a little more leeway in just doing some kind of beautiful graphic design. And,
Yes.
it's sometimes your assignment is just make it look like this big commercial poster. We got a big star, show them in the poster.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. But yeah.
Tell me your favorite. I would love to know
Oh,
which is your favorite.
Well, Jaws. Best
Jaws,
movie poster ever, I think. I think that's probably
Yes,
the best.
yes. Iconic, yes.
And it's shocking to think that that was an illustration. It's like an 8.5 by 11 sketch that is lost forever. No one knows where it is. It's like, oh God, would love to find. It's probably stuck in some drawer somewhere. We're gonna find it like in 20 years. They're gonna clean out some office, and there it'll be. You know, it's like, I love stuff like Saul Bass. It sounds kind of he does the kind of retro, very graphic, kind of old detective looking posters. And then, currently anything that takes a chance, like that's why I think I loved your poster, because I feel like it took a chance. It was black and white, this gorgeous, just relying just on the talent, which I loved. And again, like the Dune stuff is beautiful. I like the really simplistic stuff. But oh my God, there's so many. I'm like you now. I'm asking a question even I can't answer. I don't know.
Yes.
But I do love retro posters. I love those too. I love trying to make retro posters. Just you keep trying, and they will go, we like it, but take off the retro. I'm like, okay, fine. Take off the scratches, take off the cool stuff, and then there we are. But there it is.
Got it.
Well, this has been super fun, and as movie posters come out, I would love to just have hit you up here and there and say, tell me about how you made this poster. When they come out, it would be really fun to kind of do this shorter, a shorter little let's do a movie review, but on a poster. I think that would be really fun because you guys do fantastic work, and I love talking to people who also do this for a living because it's the coolest job in the world. Really, I mean, besides making movies, advertising movies is pretty damn cool.
Cool. Yes.
Thank you so much for showing up. And if you want to give anyone at your agency a call out, you can do that if you want to. If they don't want their names mentioned, fine, but you can call some people out. I know they want credit.
No, I suppose I did mention a lot of names. I suppose our major players are Deepak, Yadu, Satish, and Nandana. And there is also Aslam, who does 3D. And myself, Arun Ajikumar. That's it. That is
awesome.
All about aesthetic Kunjamma.
Well, it's been so great talking to you, and I hope to talk to you more and see more of your work. I'm going to be keeping up with you on your Instagram, and everybody needs to look at his Instagram because it's beautiful. It's got incredible stuff on it, and you'll see it there first. So, all right. So hang with me. I'm going to run the end credits, and we'll just have a chat after. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.